Lutz finally grabs a checkered flag. Think he's excited? Britton shakes the monkey from his back at Malta. We take the white flag with the top dog, the Squirrel, in the Sportsman division. This is Race Pro Weekly.
Whoa. I already deal with your wife, not you too. From all of us here at Race Pro Weekly, happy 4th of July, everyone. Hello and welcome to another edition of Race Pro Weekly. I'm Mike Warren. At the Glen Ridge Motorsports Park this season, the modified division has seen winners you would come to expect to see in victory lane. With an invader from down the hill making the trip in, one could only expect that trend to continue. The invader I'm talking about, of course, is the 44 of Stuart Friesen, as he would make his first trip to the Glen Ridge Motorsports Park in 2015, as the feature would see Johnny Lutz and the 4 of Al McCoy up on the point as we get this one started. Cars would be on the move. Here's the 816 of Jeff Rockefeller and the 00 of Bobby Varon looking to make their way up through the field. Willie Decker there as well as he goes to the inside of Justin Combs. The 53 of Bobby Vetter going to follow right behind him, and Varon was on the move early and often in this event as he would go underneath the 20 of Craig Hansen. Here comes the 34 of Sean Pangman looking to get by Lutz. He would get by him for a split second, but then bobble and lose the position. Caution will come out for the 00 of Bobby Varon, as he would have something go amiss and have to start from the tail. Hansen gets up wide off the restart. That allows Vetter to come in underneath. And here comes the 44 of Stuart Friesen, now sitting in spot number 4 behind the 85. Friesen had got by him. He'd go to work on Willie Decker, trying to get him for the number 3 spot as he headed into turn number 3 and 4. Friesen was charging. He'd be in the spot number 3 and setting his sights on runner-up Sean Pangman, and it wouldn't take him long to get by Pangman, who's got sail panels on the car for this one, which should give him a little extra advantage. Friesen making quick work of him, though, as he would go to the inside lane and try to hold on to the spot, and he would get it off at turn number 2, and that would set up a charge as John Lutz, still with the race lead with just 5 laps remaining, as he would needle through lap traffic as he gets around CJ Castelletti. Castelletti would get up into the wall up in turn number 1, and now here comes Friesen to the inside of Lutz, trying to get him, but Lutz holds him off and grabs the win.
Tonight it was beautiful. I set up for slick, and we came here and we got tacky. So we left the other track, top 10 in points. I said I'd trade that all away for a win at Glen Ridge. And here it is, baby. 17 years I've been trying.
Johnny Lutz picks up his first career feature event victory. Stuart Friesen would have to settle for second, Sean Pangman third, Willie Decker fourth, and Jeff Rockefeller would round out the top 5. In 2015, Brett Hearn has been on a tear at the Albany-Saratoga Speedway with 6 feature event victories. The only real question is, could anyone stop him? We start off with some heat race action, and I mentioned Brett Hearn. Well, it was going to be a tough night for him as he ends up on his roof during the first qualifying heat race of the night. He would be okay, but he would have to start from the rear of the field. Fast forwards on the modified feature. Now Rich Rocca would lead the field to the green. In the Cashmore Gold Jewels car number 4 is a number of cars gaggling around the back straightaway as they look to get this thing sorted out in the early going of this feature event, as Kenny Tremont was on the move with a 115, and Brian Gleason, the BBL Company's car number 14G, moves into the race lead towards the beginning as the caution would come out for the 7 of Don Rocca with a lot of front-end damage on the Tony Mangino Mitsubishi number 7 entry. Peter Britton and Ray Horde running side-by-side for position. Kenny Tremont now into the top 5 as he looks to go by Justin Barber. He would get him on the outside and now try to go to work on the 43 of Keith Flack. He'd split Flack and Parati and go to work on Brian Gleason, and he would go to the inside of him trying to take the spot away. Gleason strong on the outside, but Kenny Tremont barrels by him. Brett Hearn casually making his way up towards the front of the field, and then here comes the 14B of Peter Britton, already up in spot number 3. He'd go underneath Gleason to grab the runner-up spot away, and as they come off the corner, he'd have a little bit of ground to make up as they both go by. Dylan Scribner, Hearn continuing to make his way up through the field, and then holy haberdashery, there's Batman right on the back bumper of Kenny Tremont as he would go to the inside of him and through lap traffic try to pull ahead. They're side by side down the front straightaway. Britton in lap traffic as they go by Jimmy Cottrell on the outside will get Tremont for the race lead, and at the same time, Brett Hearn would slow, and that would end his night. Off of the restart, Tremont tried to power on the high side, but Peter Britton just too strong. Keith Flack and Brian Gleason still side by side for the race lead. They make a little bit of contact off turn number 2. All behind Peter Britton, though, as he picks up win number 1 on the season.
Managed to get by Tremont. I mean, we had a good run up through traffic, and I kind of caught Tremont. I could see he was kind of struggling a little with the bumps, and I just felt like I was a little better than he was, So I knew, if I got a chance, I'd probably be able to get by him. And just to get a 14B in victory lane, it's definitely pretty pleasing, and hopefully we can keep it going now.
Batman Peter Britton gets it done. Kenny Tremont will finish in second, Keith Flack third, Ronnie Johnson fourth, and Brian Gleason will round out the top 5.
It's now time for this week's Recovery Sports Grill fan poll question. How do you think tracks should run held over features due to rainouts? Should they run the features all the following week as in years past? Split them up among different weeks as to not make the nights so long? Log on to our Facebook page at facebook.com/RaceProWeekly to cast your answer and let us know what you think. Last week, we asked what was your favorite class of sprint car racing. We've shown a lot of sprint cars on the show so far this year, but apparently we haven't shown enough. While almost 50% of you like the 410s, a lot of you are upset that we didn't include the wingless sprint cars in this poll. 35% of you like them. Maybe we should look into a track or two that has them and see about getting some footage. Coming up on Race Pro Weekly, we head out to Utica-Rome for last week's Super Dirt Series race. Could the Franklin Flyer grab another one? And we head to the D-shaped Dirt Demon for some great close quarters action. It's all next on Race Pro Weekly.
Reputable. Reliable. Results. That's what you get when you call Rick and the professionals at RCT Roofing. Quality service at fair prices. RCT gets the job done. Just like Nick Stone and the RCT Pro Stock. RCT Roofing, we've got you covered. There's only one place in the capital region for you to get the full racing action. Stop down at the Bobco video booth at the track or call 518-399-0937. Bobco Racing Video, the next best thing to being there.
Looking for outstanding service for your car, truck, or SUV? Speed's Garage is a family-run business providing the highest quality of auto care. From routine maintenance, brakes, engine, body, or paint work, you can trust the professionals at Speed's Garage. Speed's Garage has all the auto service you need, plus full towing for any vehicle. For championship service, go to Speed's Garage in Mellonville.
Welcome back to Race Pro Weekly. For the first time in more than 10 years, the Super DIRTcar Series returns to the Utica-Rome Speedway. Let's head to the action track of the East to see what happened. Before they go fast and start the power slide, we salute you with the big blocks 4 wide, and that'll do it with my Shane Andrews impression. Anyway, Timmy McCready and Stuart Friesen will be on the front row for the Super DIRTcar Series event at the Utica-Rome Speedway as Stuart Friesen would grab the early lead. Timmy Mack trying to go to the inside. Matt Shepard and Brett Hearn right there here as they come around to click off lap number 1, clean and green. Cars looking to be on the move early. That would include the traction grabber, car number 27J of the Dr. Danny Johnson, as he'd slide underneath the 20 of Brett Hearn with a beautiful slide job through turn number 3 and 4 to take the number 2 spot away. Hearn trying to battle back as Matt Shepard and Larry White right together down the back straightaway. They would both have to go to the pit area with issues as you see Larry White and Matt Shepard's crew going to work. Off the restart, Stuart Friesen going to come back out in front. Here's Danny Johnson trying to pull the slide for life, but Brett Hearn right there with him, trying to take the spot away. Billy Decker will be on the move into the top 5 in the early going of this event, as now Decker right there, Eric Rudolph on the top side trying to make his presence known, and then Danny Johnson would have trouble with a left rear flat tire on the 27J. Machine Gun Billy Dunn trying to fend off challenges from the 99L of Larry White, who drove his way back up through the field and into the top 5. But meanwhile, battle for the race lead. Here comes Billy Decker to the inside of Stuart Friesen. Friesen would push like a dump truck in turn number 3 and 4, and that would allow Billy Decker to take the race lead as they come down the front straightaway. Friesen wouldn't have long to fend off more pressure as Jimmy Phelps would go to the inside. Larry White on the top side, all trying to get to that number 2 spot. As the 98H machine barrels down to the inside, he would take the spot away, as now Friesen would be relegated to spot number 3. Down the back straightaway, Billy Decker would go for the final time, and he would cruise to the win at Utica-Rome.
It was a tough race. I didn't think anybody had anything for Stewie. He was really trucking. I think he had a tire problem there towards the end. He got slipping his lighting pretty hard. I think he sealed the tire. These guys do a great job preparing this race car. I just kept digging and clawing and digging and clawing. And as usual here, you can come from any place if your car is good. And tonight was no exception.
The Franklin Flyer, Billy Decker grabs the win. Jimmy Phelps would finish in 2nd. Larry White would finish in 3rd. Eric Rudolph would finish in 4th. Billy Dunn would be 5th. Stuart Friesen did cross the line 4th, but came up light on the scales, disqualifying him. While Matt Shepard leads the win column at the Brewerton Speedway, Jimmy Phelps has stood strong to the challenge as he entered last Friday night with the points lead. Vic Coffey and Tom Sears Jr. would lead the field of the green in the 35-lap feature at the D-shaped Dirt Demon as Sears would take the early race lead. Tim Sears Jr. and Chris Heil right behind him, trying to fight their way up into the podium spots. Meanwhile, cars on the move on the outside, the 99B of Chuck Bauer and the 9H of Matt Shepard trying to make their way up through the field as Coffey would swing it to the top side, trying to find something to get by the 62. He'd almost push out ahead as Shepard, Larry White in there as well, trying to get by Robbie Bellinger on the inside. Jimmy Phelps going to turn the wick up on the top side as Pat Ward also trying to make his way up through the field and get by Phelps for position. Ward would go to the inside of Phelps here once again with Ryan Phelps lurking right behind them, trying to grab a few more positions. Tim Sears Jr. would move into the number 2 spot, getting by the 2K of Vic Coffey, but that would do it as Tom Sears Jr., green to checkered, wire to wire, would pick up the win. Tim Sears Jr. would hold on for 2nd, Chris Heil 3rd, Matt Fink 4th, and Pat Ward would round out your top 5. Back up to the ridge we go as Alyssa Cody and Ray Zemkin would lead the field of the green for the Sportsman feature event. In this one, as Cody would take the early lead, and then Ray Zemkin would get right by her. Shea Montgomery to the inside, and the 12S machine would take the number 2 spot away as Chad Miller was on the move, and also the 79 of AJ Philbeck trying to make his way up, and he would be in the red 79. Harry Schaefer, Chad Miller, and Tony Ferrone running for position as Miller gets knocked up on the top side, and now you see Montgomery and Philbeck side by side as Montgomery trying to hold off Philbeck for that spot. As they continue to run through turn number 3 and 4, it would be Philbeck sitting in 2nd. Philbeck trying to set his sights on Ray Zemkin as Montgomery sits 3rd, Harry Schaefer 4th at this time, and now Tony Ferrone trying to get by Schaefer for the number 4 spot as they come down the front stretch. Ferrone now on the backstretch would get by him for the position as the caution will come out for the 79, and that would bring out the yellow. Off the restart, Ray Zemkin with the jump. He's going to be your race leader. Shea Montgomery tries to make a move to the inside. They make contact and come together as a number of cars having to take evasive action. And Ray Zemkin, well, he's out of the car. The helmet's coming off. And he is a man on a mission heading back to the pit area. And, well, Shea Montgomery's got some help making sure Zemkin doesn't get to the car. That's for sure. Off of the restart, AJ Philbeck would take control as Chris Curtis spins out the 21 of Schaefer, collecting Jim Introne. Meanwhile, Philbeck still trying to hold off the 18 of Tony Ferrone. As Ferrone right on the back bumper, he'd fly by like an onion, pun intended, underneath him for the number 1 spot. Introne trying to get back by the C88 of Chad Miller for position, as that would do it. Tony Ferrone grabbing the win up at the Ridge. So Tony Ferrone going to grab the victory. Brian Pesolano would finish in 2nd. AJ Philbeck would come home in 3rd. 4th on the grid would be Chris Curtis, and Chad Miller would round out the top 5. Josh Kane would grab the win in the Cruisers.
When we come back, we travel to Albany-Saratoga for round number 2 of the King of Dirt Sportsman Series. And we check in again at Brewerton for some wild sportsman action of their own. Coming up on Race Pro Weekly.
Some of the music you've heard on Race Pro Weekly this week is by AJ Jansen, Country's Rebel Rose, bringing you a mixture of high-energy rock and sultry country roots. To hear more and for your free download, check out ajjansenmusic.com. performance, quality, service. That's DMC Racing Products. Hundreds of name brand parts, competitive prices. That's DMC. DMC Racing Products. Race to win. We head back to the great race place for the King of Dirt Sportsman Series Friday Night Lights as the Queen of Dirt, Darian Doole, getting a ride in the Fonda Speedway pace truck, and it would be Rocky Warner pacing the field, the point leader in the King of Dirt Series, as they went up into turn number 1 and 2 in this 30-lap feature event. Jack Swinton and Tim Hartman Jr. going to go side by side before Hartman would take advantage, and Scott Doole would slip over the banking, which will bring out the first of many cautions in this event, up off at turn number 1 and 2. Adam Pearson trying to make a move for the race lead, but Rocky Warner strong to the challenge. He come back underneath and take the race lead away. Now Tim Hartman Jr. to the inside, looking to take the number 2 spot there as well. Hartman would eventually get it and then set his sights on race leader Rocky Warner. Connor Cleveland there in the number 4 spot. The 2 Datsun cars of Scarborough and Chet Edwards on their way up through the field as well, along with Nick Lucier, Matt Papa, Chris Johnson, Derek McGrew there, along with David Schilling, who had a pretty good run for his first time in the sportsman class at Albany-Saratoga. Some of the Bear Ridge boys, Josh Sun and Jason Gray, working their way up. Not so much for Tim Hodge as he would spin, bringing out the caution up in turn number 2. Off the restart, Tim Hartman Jr. would slide up in front of Rocky Warner and take the race lead away, but then Warner would slide back and they'd make contact coming off at turn number 4 as Warner would take the lead right back in that number 1J. Caution will come out again for the 20 of Jack Gentile. That would set up a restart where Hartman and Warner come together as they come down the front straightaway, and then they get together in turn number 1 and 2, spinning them both, and Joey Scarborough would take advantage as a number of cars are left in turn number 1 and 2. Rocky Warner with a lot of front-end damage on the 1J machine, and off of the restart, Joey Scarborough would take over once again. Connor Cleveland sitting there in the number 2 spot as cars starting to make their final push in this one, as Joey Scarborough would lead them off by turn number 3 and 4 to take the checkered flag. However, light at the scales, so Connor Cleveland, your Friday Night Lights winner. Jason Gray would finish in 2nd, Adam Pearson 3rd, Derek McGrew 4th, and Jeremy Pitts 5th. Making a return trip to the D-shaped dirt demon for the SUNY Canton Sportsman is Steven Denon. Would lead the field to the green in the 44C machine. He would get the early jump. Tony Finch the second will be on the move in the 0 as he would move into spot number 2, trying to chase down your race leader as the caution come out as Earl Rudy would spin around up in between turn number 3 and 4. That would set up Ron Davis making his way up through the field, going to the inside of the 44 of Denton for position. Then he would duck under the 0 of Finch and take the race lead away, but as they come down the front straightaway and into turn number 1, Finch gets into him and spins Davis out, as that would bring out the caution with just a few laps to go. Off of the restart, you see Jack Meeks on the high side, but Earl Rudy takes advantage on the inside lane as Denton gets caught down, and Rudy would run away with it as Earl Rudy picks up the win in the SUNY Canton Sportsman. So Rudy picking up the victory after the early incident. Jack Meeks would finish in 2nd, Alan Fink would come home 3rd, Stephen Denton 4th, and Ricky Yell would round out the top 5. Other winners on the night in the late models, it would be Kevin Cook, Jim Bogut in the Mod Lights, and Chuck Pawalczyk in the 4 cylinders.
It's now time for this week's Berkshire County Network Driver Spotlight. This week we're going to go a little old school with one of the newest members of the Fonda Speedway Hall of Fame, the pride of Canongahary, New York, Dave Late. Race Pro Weekly is brought to you by Bob Hilbert Sportswear, Racing Electronics, Emmerich Associates, Tranquil Touch Healing, New England Racing Fuels, and Sunoco Fuels. Coming up, Fast Eddie goes one-on-one with the Flying Squirrel. Is he having the best year of his career? And we'll hand out our NYSSCA Performer of the Week. Race Pro Weekly will be right back.
I'm Brian from 1-800-GOT-JUNK. This is my main man, Tom, and my other main man, Tom.
You never know how much junk you've got until you move.
Point to something you wish would disappear.
Would it be possible to... It's gone!
All you have to do is point.
Where have you been all my life?
We make junk disappear. All you have to do is point.
The Choices 301 program takes a multifaceted approach aimed at educating the public about the realities and dangers of what can happen when bad decisions are made inside a motor vehicle. Don't hesitate to designate. Welcome back to Race Pro Weekly, where it was double trouble for the Pro Stock Division. Double features on hand, making up a rainout from a couple of weeks ago as Storm and Norman Luby are on the move trying to look to get the race lead in the early going of this event as Dan Madigan would lead. Kim Duell, Brandon Amy, and Bernie Companion side by side. Daniel Sanchez gets into the back of Rowdy Birch, sending him around. And then Sanchez with a little contact to Dan Madigan as a bunch of cars go right together. Cale Neer's going to get the worst of it as he would get some damage down the back stretch. And then a few more cars coming together. Kenny Martin, as you can see, the front end of that machine really busted up on the 93. Back for the race lead once again here. Here comes Dan Older to the inside of Daniel Sanchez for the number 1 spot. He'll take that away as Byron Westcott on the move. A little bit of contact between him and Bill Smith. This car's just a little bit loose as Byron Westcott now making his way up into the number 2 spot, getting by the 463 of Sanchez. Westcott trying to find something on the outside as Dan Older to the inside. Then they'd switch lanes. Older would get out of shape, and that would allow Byron Westcott to take the race lead away. Sanchez will get back by Dan Older with just a couple of laps to go, as that would finish up Byron Westcott in victory lane for the 3rd time this season. In race number 2, Bernie Companion and Chucky Domblewski going to lead the field to the green as they made their way down the back straightaway. Cars still going side by side. Bill Smith on the move on the outside lane. Kenny Martin on the inside as well, trying to make something happen as Martin and Smith would both go around in synchronized formation in turn number 3 and 4, bunching the field up again. And now Cale Neer, Bernie Companion, and Brandon Amy right there running for position as well, as Neer would have his hands full with the 83 of Companion as Companion dives underneath and takes the spot away down the backstretch. Robbie Speed right there as well. Domblewski would continue to lead as now the 2 of Brandon Amy would move into the number 2 spot, trying to run your race leader down. Companion right there on the back bumper. Robbie Speed and Dan Older trying to find him as now a race for the lead once again as Amy to the inside of the 7D of Chucky Domblewski. They would get caught up in lap traffic, and that's where Amy would take advantage as he would slide underneath the 7D and take the race lead away down the backstretch. Lap traffic will become a heavy factor as getting into the front end and a couple cars dropping off right in front. And Brandon Amy strong to the challenge. Robbie Speed would get around Chucky Domblewski per second, try to run down your leader, but it would be Brandon Amy taking home the win. So Brandon Amy grabbing the victory. Robbie Speed would finish in 2nd, Bernie Companion 3rd, Chucky Domblewski 4th, and Kim Duell would finish in 5th. In the first Pro Stock feature we showed you from earlier, Byron Westcott grabbing the win, Daniel Sanchez 2nd, Dan Older 3rd, Robbie Speed 4th, and Norm Lubier would finish in 5th. Other winners on the night, Andrew Buff will grab the win in the Limited Sportsman and Josh Coonrad in the Street Stocks. Throughout his career, Rocky Warner has been the type of guy that just has success when stepping into any type of race car. Our own Fast Eddie caught up with him on how his season has gone so far.
Rocky, over 10 wins this season so far. How's the season going?
Oh, it's been awesome. You know, we've got 12 wins total. We got one with Ray with a 79 team early on in the season at Fonda. And then we got one with our other Bicknell car with Jake, and then we got 10 with Destroyer. And it's been a dream season, you know what I mean? The guys are kind of busting out. You're kind of in a win slump, but we've been finishing 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, you know what I mean? Just about everywhere as we go. So we're super excited. We you know, here at Malta, tonight's a big night. Obviously, it's a draw night, and we kind of drew poorly, but we've been climbing in points. You know, I think we missed 2 weeks going back to Glen Ridge earlier on in the season. Now we've been back here consistently. We're up to 3rd in points right now. I think about 30-something out. So, we're leading points at Malta. I think we're leading points at Fonda. Leading points at Utica-Rome. So we're having an awesome season today. You know, I hope we just keep some of the momentum rolling, keep things going our way.
Tell the folks how the opportunity came to get behind the wheel of the 1J in Jake Spraker's car.
Jake had just, you know, he kind of was like, he was kind of up near what he was going to do. You know, him and Bobby weren't sure what they were going to do this year, and he's like, he goes, I think I'm just going to go sportsman racing. He goes, you want to go sportsman racing? And I kind of, we went to lunch, talked about it, and we kind of sat and thought for about a couple of days, and we got back together, talked again, and discussed some of the details of how it would work, and we put a deal together. You know, it wasn't intentional to go at the beginning of the season to go full time with this, but it just seemed like we were, firing on all 8 cylinders right out of the box. You know, we were fast, and just it's good stuff, and it just, we've gelled well so far. So that's kind of how the deal went full time.
Earlier in the season, your motor got pulled at the Utica-Rome Speedway. Everything came back legal. How important is that to you to have something like that done and find out how legal you are?
It's a lot of work. Obviously, it puts a lot of stress on the team. Thankfully, it was earlier in the season, like you said. We weren't racing 3-4 nights a week, so it was kind of it was good timing for us. Because we just had to, we had a long week to put it back in, but it's huge for the class. For the crate sportsmen, the crate pro stocks, it's huge. And I think it should be done more often. We've had ours pulled 3-4 times. We went over bits. We just get the job done, pull it out, just let them send it to dyno, do whatever they're gonna do, and then we get it back. I just like to see more of it. And I know, like last week at Fonda, Nick Stone protested Broderson. He also came back legal. I think it's a good thing for the sport. I think, maybe them guys aren't the ones that are cheating, but it might wake up some of the other guys. And then, it should be done, in my honest opinion, it should be done more often, like randomly by the track itself, work a deal out with the dyno so it doesn't cost so much at a time, and have them do it more often, like to just oddball guys. Just a guy that finished in the top 5, whatever, to say, hey, listen, we're taking your motor tonight. And it ain't got to be the winner, just somebody that, just needs to have it done once in a while. And I think if that stays on track and everybody keeps doing that, I think you'll see a lot more even playing field. And like I said, this is a crate class meant to keep them stock. I know in the past a lot of guys opened them up and did things to them. I don't think it's as big now as it used to be. I think they've, guys kind of tamed down themselves. And the fact they know they might get pulled out of sometimes. So it's a good thing for the class, and I don't have nothing against it. I'll do it anytime. I'll do it again whenever it needs to be done again.
Who do you need to thank this season?
Jake and Nancy. Obviously they've given me awesome equipment to drive. I'm not lacking much as far as equipment. So we have some top-notch stuff. My crew, them guys put in tons of hours to be able to race as much as we race. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be able to do it. My family, obviously, because again, I'm out racing all the time, and they're pretty understanding of it. I got my kids, lose out on some time, and my wife, she's at home, can't go to all the races. So, and my awesome sponsors, I got actually a couple of fuel sponsors here tonight. Rick and Dave, they've helped out a lot. iBox Springs, Fox Shocks have been huge. We got them last year. Came back on board this year, and we've been fine-tuning some stuff, and Fox Shocks have been outrageous, with Mike Walton and Fastline, Dunham Spring Shop, LT's Ice, my dad, Andy Speed Shop, and I might be missing a few, but, it's Wendy's, Catalytic Recovery, from my other team, they came on board with us, so it's a big group effort. I got a lot of guys that come in, might not help every week, but they come in, throw a few bucks here, or even a lending helping hand. Come down and wash the car someday. It's a big group effort, and it just gels well.
It's now time for this week's NYSSCA Performer of the Week, and with him picking up his first win in 17 years of trying, who else but Johnny Lutz? Lutz is now eligible to win the NYSSCA Performer of the Year award given out at the end of the season. That's all for this week's show. For the latest news, results, and photos, check out Race Pro Weekly online at www.raceproweekly.com, and be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. So for myself, Amber Chalmers, Fast Eddie, Scott Morlock, and everyone that helps put Race Pro Weekly together, thank you for watching this week's episode, and we'll see you next time.